comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that.
What is up, Titans Nation? Welcome into the 615. It's your host, Lee Hillis, and welcome into the SeatGeek Studios. And let's do a quick shout out to our sponsors over at SeatGeek. You can use our code 615podcast, that is 615PODCAST, at checkout for $20 off your first order of $50 or more on SeatGeek.com or on the SeatGeek app. As you see, we are talking Titans, Colts. Titans fall in late rally, 38-30 in Indianapolis. Where do we go from here? But we're also doing a double show talking Titans, Jags ahead of the matchup this weekend in Jacksonville. But first, let's go bring our co-host in here, Jay Murph. What's up, Murph?
Thank you so much, Mr. Lee. How are you on this fine Thursday?
It is, of course, the day after Christmas.
Of course.
But there's some work that needs to be done. Am I right or am I right?
Oh, you couldn't be more right. But, you know, the NBA does own Christmas, so we have to pass
with
those
what, 5 million? With what, 5 million views?
Don't change. Who cares?
While the NFL was on Netflix. And
stealing all the views.
The Baltimore Ravens go into H-Town and smack the Texans 31-2.
Would you rather get blown out or score 2? Or I'm sorry, shut out or score 2.
I would have scored 2 than get shut out.
I don't know because you know that's like score
Both of them are terrible. Both of them are terrible.
Bad option.
But let's dive into Titans Colts, presented by SeatGeek and Expedia. Of course, you can find our link to Expedia in the description. Well, there was some news. Titans are rolling with Mason Rudolph this weekend in Jacksonville. So, do you think the outcome is different? Or is it the same?
You asking me or the people listening?
You.
Oh, it's the same. I mean, they're the same quarterback. They see the field. I mean, there's obvious benefits to Rudolph, but for the most part, they're the same quarterback.
So let's dive into team stats between the Titans and Colts. Starting with the Titans, Mason Rudolph, 23 of 34, 252.
Well, what do you think? Do you think that we have a better chance with Mason? How do you think this game goes? I guess I should have asked you that. How do you think this game goes?
I think it's a close game, like it was last time.
Oh, I was about to say not last week. Last week was a fake comeback. Yeah, okay.
The last time we played Jacksonville like 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I think it's a close game or closer game, which I think the Titans might have a chance to win, but I wouldn't ride on that.
No, I wouldn't either.
But Mason,
bet your life savings on it.
No. Mason Rudolph last week against Indianapolis, 23 of 34, 252, had two touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Tony Pollard 8 for 35. Tajay Spears 10 for 27 and 2 touchdowns. Mason Rudolph 4 for 3. But then your leading receiver was your tight end Chigga Conquer with 9 catches on 11 targets for 81. Calvin Ridley 3 receptions on 5 targets, 78, and a touchdown. But then you jump down to the guy who has been hot down the stretch, NWY. 2 catches on 4 targets, 17 yards, and a touchdown. So, do you expect to see more of NWI this week, or do you think we get keep our tight ends involved?
Yes. My sole purpose in life as an offensive coordinator right now would be to highlight the one good thing we did, which is NWI scoring touchdowns. Break the record. Break Drew Bennett's record. And
Which is what,
don't
12?
focus. I think it's 11. I think he's 3 away right now. Like he's real close.
Yeah,
He could do it.
he's got 9. He's got 9.
Okay, so then you're right. It's probably 12.
So, and of course,
Yeah.
a quick shout out to Amani Hooker with a career high in interceptions, which I think is 5.
He had a horrible day. He had a horrendous day.
Titans defense, shout out to the Rook, Cedric Gray. 15 total tackles, 9 of them solo.
He looked pretty solid out there.
Simmons.
Terrible day, though, because of the run defense.
Yeah. Our run defense was hot garbage.
It's just flaming hot garbage.
Jeffrey Simmons with the lone sack. I'm glad we're seeing more of Cedric Gray and James Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're rookies. What do you expect them to do?
But they're contributing, which is more
exactly. And that's what we want out of our rookies.
Well, we have to. I mean, we have to hit. We're at a point we have to hit guys. Like that's what you hired.
Jalen Harrell at outside linebacker. Tavondre Sweat. So for some news came out, Kenneth Murray is out for the rest of the year.
On IR. He's having a solid season too. I was actually happy with him.
And Tyler and I want to pose this to you. Tyler and I are on board with this. Do we bring back Kenneth Murray?
What do you like about Kenneth Murray's play?
As you said, like he's been the best. He's been the shining star in that linebacking core this season. He's in the bright spot.
He's been the brightest spot of a pile of shit.
Exactly. So, it's like a diamond.
Why? What I'm saying is it just because he was really good in a mediocre situation, does that mean that warrants him returning?
I think let's see what we have. And question is, where's Tyler? Well, Tyler had some things come up. That will keep him away. That will keep him away the rest of this year, but he will be back on January 6th.
Tyler's fine. Tyler's in good spirits. Tyler's had a lot of positive life changes. He's doing good for himself. He needs some time. So,
Tyler, who will be a J6er. He'll be back January 6th.
That fits.
But back to this defense, I think if let me put my GM hat on. If I'm Ray Carthon, even with us having this bad of a year, and him being the bright spot on a very bad team, I'm actually on paper we look really good on paper, but the product hasn't been there. You see where I'm coming from?
I see where, as a delusional Titans fan, you might believe that on paper we look good. I mean, we've been terrible, dude. There's been nothing good about this team for a majority of the year.
Yeah, like on paper we look good. Like,
you mean like names on paper we look good?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sure.
Like on paper we look good, but performance-wise, it just has not been there.
Who's that fall on?
I think it falls on the staff, the coaching staff.
Just go ahead and say you want Brian Callahan fired. You can do that and give me.
We'll get to Brian Callahan a little later.
Okay.
But
all right.
But like back to what I was saying, putting the GM hat on. I am giving Kenneth Murray. He only signed a 1-year deal. If I say correctly,
I would bring Kenneth Murray back. He's a heat-seeking missile. I love how he plays the game.
I would bring him back on a 2-3-year deal.
If he'll take it, yeah, sure. Absolutely. I think he's earned a bigger contract.
I would go 3 years, probably 28, 29 million.
Okay, so the injury now, depending on how serious it is, affects his value, especially on the open market.
Yeah. as you said, it depends on how bad this injury is. I could actually go pull up the injury report and see.
Yeah. I don't
what
think it's
it's showing.
necessary. I don't think it's necessary. But either way, we're agreeing that we would bring back
Kenneth Murray. He,
on a longer term deal, not
as you said, he is a bright spot in a pile of dog crap.
Yeah. I didn't.
Someone
said,
said
but
Amy Adams shrunk is to blame.
that is a huge rabbit hole, and I could go on a rant on that. But I'm gonna say no, and I'm going to say no because Amy Adams didn't own a football team before 2016. Was it 2015?
2015.
So she's been 9 years on the job as an owner, as a female owner in the National Football League. She's made
which is very. It's very rare.
No, yeah, a lot of things about that are rare. She's hired 2 GMs and she's hired 3 head coaches.
She's fired 2, I think hired 3.
Yeah. So
because you had Malarkey come in 15 after you fire Wisenhunt.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, owners are fans. So this is just a fan who got the team. I think she's done a solid job, and the way that she's integrated the team into the city of Nashville, I felt like she did a much better job at that than her father did. And who do you want to replace him? Like, who would you replace Amy Adams Strunk with? I don't want Daniel Tepper. Like,
God.
I don't want
Charles Schneider.
I don't want any of the guys that they've chosen in recent years to replace owners of teams.
Like, I do not want the former Commanders owner.
Snyder. Yeah, whatever. Anyway. It's a good comment though. Thanks for commenting. Keep commenting.
As I said, congrats to Monty Hooker on an interception. I want to say number 5 on the year. Oh, he had 1 interception return for 19 yards.
I don't care how many interceptions you get when you let them hang 200 on you.
Exactly.
You know, like, come on.
Then you get to return. Tajay Spears 2 for 69, long of 42. That's what I'm talking about. You want that long return, like what Tajay Spears had.
I love that. I love Tajay Spears as a player. He's the second.
And of course, a guy who is no longer on this roster, Mason Kinsey. I think.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not. He's been
3 for 23.
Dude's been cut.
No, this is the guy who's no longer on the roster, Braden Darvison.
Was he worth the $1 million they spent?
No.
No, he wasn't.
But Ryan Stonehouse, Stoney.
61, dude.
A long of 61, an average of 55.3.
So if you've listened to the show before, you know that I've been trying to run Colt Anderson out of town. How do we feel now at this point, week 17, with the benefit of hindsight about Colt Anderson?
He still needs to go.
I agree. Still the president. I'm running for president of the club next year too. So he's still
Colt Anderson. I don't want to sound rude when I say this, but Colt Anderson can kick rocks.
Colt Anderson is hot garbage.
He is. Now we're jumping over to the Indy side of this thing.
Boo, the fake comeback. 218. My God. Have some self-respect.
Anthony Richardson, 7 for 11. 131.
Yeah, with 70 on the ground.
Exactly. And then JT, Jonathan Taylor.
335 yards on the ground, bro.
Total, yeah.
335 as a team. Have some
29 carries. 29 carries, 218, and 3 touchdowns. The only thing I can say is, Jesus Christ.
Honestly, you just had Jeff Simmons standing on a soapbox a few weeks ago talking about how no one runs on the Titans, and look at this.
Where's Jeff now? All I hear is crickets from him.
I hope he's in the gym. I hope he's in the film room.
A.D. Mitchell, good Lord, 1 for 36.
Yeah, he had one, but it was a good one. I remember that play too. It was pretty nasty.
Josh Downs, 3 for 61 in the touchdown.
So they were missing their top tackler this game. They were missing EJ Speed.
Yeah.
Which we thought would play to our advantage. It clearly did not.
It didn't.
It made no difference.
But the two of the 3 interceptions. Actually, all 3 interceptions right here. Because Kenny Moore had 2.
Did the last one really matter?
No.
Did it really matter? I mean, there was 8 seconds left.
Kenny Moore. If I had all the money in the world, I would pay that man to come to Tennessee and play corner.
That guy plays for the Colts.
Yeah.
And I think that the Colts should be absorbed by a black hole. So I don't really want anybody that wore a horseshoe.
Well, funny thing is our GM wore the horseshoe.
Yeah, he did. And there's a lot. My guy who was commenting earlier probably would tell you that Rand should go too. And if he doesn't,
Rand could go jump in the black hole too.
Do you fire? We'll get into it later.
Do you fire?
There's your teaser. We'll get into it later.
Hang on. But the Colts, I feel like they're built different.
They're built the same they were last year. They didn't make any changes. They wanted half our roster on their roster before we got them.
Wish I had a job. I could make 6 or more figures and lose 90% of the time and keep my job.
Yeah, honestly. It's like the weatherman. How can you be wrong 80,000% of the time and still get to be the weatherman on TV?
Exactly.
Look, man. Now Rand Carthon's done a decent job. The collaboration nonsense is what gets to me. It's like I don't need collaboration. I need a coach that's going to get in somebody's ass when they're falling off.
Exactly. I want a coach that is going to jump down somebody's throat.
Yeah. I mean, David Long, Christian Fulton know exactly what that was like here in Tennessee. I'm sure David Long would have had culture shock to see what this was.
And we'll get into David Long later.
Why? Why would we talk about David Long? No news about David Long. Anyway, next.
But before we get into good, bad, ugly, I have 2 clips from Brian Callahan.
Okay.
That I feel like need to be watched. Because what we're dealing with here, he has dealt with before with young quarterbacks.
No, I mean it's there's a lot of things that go into it, but yeah, I mean I've been a part of a couple different year one processes, and they look pretty similar. Year one in Oakland, and I had a year one in Cincinnati, and you're fighting through all the same things you got to fight through, and you got to keep improving. Keep improving the coaching. You got to keep improving your roster. You got to keep building the whole process. And I think that there's a lot of things we've done well. Enough of them don't show up outwardly, and that's kind of been the frustration. Is the performance on Sundays hasn't matched what the preparation looks like, what the energy looks like. The disappointing thing is I thought we had one of our best Friday practices in terms of energy, execution, like on top of all the things you got to be on top of. And then it doesn't translate, to start the game, or at least that first half, it gets away from us. So I think the biggest issue we have right now, though, is that, we lead the league in turnovers. I mean, it's that part's, you're going to lose a whole lot of games turning the ball over at the rate we've turned it over. I think what do we have, 30, 31 turnovers or something like that? I mean, that's insanity. So, yeah, it's going to make it really hard. And that's where the last 2 games have gotten away from us. We've turned the ball over twice in 2 straight games in the waning minutes of the half, and it turns into, we could have gone into 17-7 in the halftime, and it looks a little different, and all of a sudden it's 24, and then they get the ball back, and it's 31, and that's how you lose games in this league. And if you turn the ball over and put yourself in bad spots, and they capitalize on it, it makes it really difficult. So I would say that the biggest issue we have right now is the turnover problem, and that's you want to build consistency and you want to do things better, and you got to make sure you take care of the football. I don't really deal in that. My job is to try to put the best product we can on the field and try to go win a game, and whatever that looks like. I'm not really in the Christmas spirit right now for hope. I'm just trying to play good football, and right now we haven't done it well enough. And our job is to go try to play another game next week. We've got 2 more to play. Love to find a way to win both of them and play better than we have, and that's all my focus is at, and that's where we're going to do our best to do. And outside of that, I can't control the rest of that. Just trying to do our best job we can. Oh, I'm sure it is. I mean, they want it, but we all got to play better. We got to do a better job doing what we're supposed to do. We got to do a better job coaching. Everybody's got to be better. So the hope comes from doing things the right way over the course of an entire game at a better and higher rate than we have. And that's the ultimate sign of hope is when you play well. We got to find a way to play well with 2 weeks to go.
And there's the quote: "Play better."
Coach better, play better. Coach better, play better. So I miss having a couple and I hate comparing it. We're not getting Vrabel back. Like, dream's dead. I can hold on to it as long as I want to.
I think he needs more coffee or something. What is he talking about?
I was literally about to bring this up. Like, thank you for saying that, because last year I hung on to everything Vrabel said. I waited for Victory Mondays because you got the video drop of him in the locker room, rah-rahing the team up, making them feel good. Callahan reminds me of my 9th grade geometry teacher. Shout out, Mr. Buchanan. Love you, dude. You taught me a lot. You're a great guy, but you put me to sleep. More ass kicking and less ass saving. I feel you. Absolutely. I absolutely feel you.
So Peter Skoronski, I think, had a great thing he said. And I'll just let him explain what he wants.
Football, I'd like to see my team play. It's an interesting question because I've never really thought about that, but I understand we're not where we need to be right now, but in my opinion, if you're not going to be with us right now, then when we're better and when we're doing better, don't pretend to be with us then either. So I appreciate all the loyal fans. I know there hasn't been much to root for, and it's been rough at a lot of times this year, but yeah.
Why has it been so hard to consistently put it together? When you guys feel like you get something going, whether it's in one phase or another, just something, it feels like the bottom falls out.
It seems like we live and die with little mistakes, and we let sort of one thing kill us, and it takes forever to get out of it. I think we just got to mature as a group, individually and as a group, to kind of push through the little things that go wrong and keep going. But it seems like every little thing that happens, all right, it turns into a mudslide.
Do you guys feel like you're adequately prepared?
So one thing he said is I can stand behind is we live and die with every little mistake.
Sure, that's the one thing we can agree on.
This team, every time you take 2 steps forward, you're taking 8 steps back.
Yeah, there we are. And
every time you have a great play, it's mutilated by a false start.
Or an illegal formation. Or an illegal shift.
Or
a hold.
It seems like every time we do something good, we can never catch a break. We can never capitalize.
I don't see how. Now, granted, Skoronski's one of the better players. He scored an 88 PFF score last week. He's one of the highest graded offensive linemen in the league, period. But how can you, I've been a fan my whole life. I think you have too. And you're going to tell me not to ride with you during a 3 and whatever this bull mess is season?
It's going to end up being 3-14.
Who cares what it is? You guys suck. And you're telling me not to ride with you now or that. That rubs me wrong, because y'all could just be better. And then we don't have to worry about whether or not we want to find something else to do on Sunday afternoons or come and talk about good things on here.
Bring out the quote from Vrabel. Coach better, play better.
Coach better, play better. I like his don't do dumb shit to hurt the team. I wish that a lot more people would listen to that one.
And that's exactly what the team is doing right now.
They're doing dumb shit that hurts them every week, constantly.
But
You going
good,
down
bad, ugly,
38. What they go down 31-7 at one point in that game?
31-7. It was 31-7 going into the fourth.
Okay, that's a lot of dumb shit doing a lot of hurting on that one team.
Good, bad, ugly, presented by Expedia. The fourth quarter rally
Was fake.
that came up short.
That was fake. I don't even. You didn't show me the slide beforehand. I think you know why you didn't show me the slide beforehand. I do not agree that was fake. A peewee team could have gone out and done just as good as they did. I mean, they caught momentum and then maybe they got a little closer than they wanted to. But as soon as the Colts decided that was over with, they were done.
But how can you say it's fake when you scored 23 points in a quarter?
Yeah, because it's stat padding. I don't care. Like Derek Carr did a whole lot of that. How many championships they had to show for it?
None.
Yeah, exactly. And he's referencing that 3-13 year they had in Oakland. And that should not even be. We'll get to his resume later. Well, Detroit is making us look bad. What did he say? No, well, so Detroit has done this really beautiful thing, and they've been doing it for years. That team is a team of destiny. I really believe it. They have put in the work. They've hired the right people.
They're a team. I think they're a team on the edge of greatness.
I think so too. I don't think it's everybody who's paying attention saw this coming. Honestly, I would love to be Detroit. I would love to be a Detroit situation.
Bad overall performance and coaching.
Yep.
You get down 31-7.
Copy paste.
And then the run defense. 335 yards.
I'll give them a little slack only because they haven't really looked that horrible this whole year. But you literally made the Colts your arch rival, who Jim Irsay has fired people over losing to you.
Oh, please. Taylor will get over it. You can be real.
The Bears are still losing out. In fact, he's wanting to watch the game with me after this. And yeah.
Well, a little update on that.
In fact, I was going to say, what's the score on that game right now?
3-0, 2:12 left in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Charbonnet has 24 yards rushing. Bears Swift around the right end, tackle for a loss of 7.
The Bears are going to bear.
But so that's where we're ending the Indy stuff at.
For those who didn't get that reference, Taylor has been my friend since I was a kid. He is a Bears fan. And yes, I do come on here and intentionally talk mess about the Bears to piss him off. So
Duh, Bears.
The Bears suck.
But I'll just going to show this hilarious clip that I have. And when I say it's hilarious, it is hilarious. And this video right here will lead us right into the next part of the show. Do you have an idea of who it is?
Is it a train wreck? Yes. Oh.
well, ladies and gentlemen,
kind of was a train.
He's back. JK, no, he's not.
Dude, I was kind of hyped for it, to be honest.
So Kenneth Murray went on season-ending IR. We had claimed David Long off waivers from Detroit. Then we get the notification this afternoon that he failed his physical and will not be on the Titans now. So we've waived him because he couldn't pass his physical.
Do we know what he failed, or is that HIPAA protected?
I think it's HIPAA. I think it's all HIPAA.
Okay.
But
all right.
If it's anything that I can think of, it's probably something like hamstring or.
I would assume it would be his shoulder. Didn't he have a shoulder while he was here? I feel like
it was all soft tissue. It was all soft tissue.
That's right, because Vrabel was whining about the soft tissue injuries, and
that's why Fulton's not here anymore.
Yeah, he called both David Long and Christian Fulton out
by name,
which he does not do, good or bad. He does not call people out by name. That was crazy.
But Jacksonville is the next victim, or actually, we're their next victim.
All right, so hey, but here's the thing: this is the Turd Bowl because this is number 3 and number 4 competing
In
for
draft order.
a better spot in the draft order. So winner of this game is actually a loser in reality. So
The
that kind
winner
of
of the draft
skews
order
things.
is
The
the
winner
loser.
of the draft is the loser. So keys to victory: lose.
Lose, and lose.
Lose.
But let's look at what Jacksonville did this last weekend. Mac Jones, 25 of 39, 247, and a touchdown, but he was sacked for 11-yard loss.
So here is the beautiful thing that I think we overlook when we talk about Jacksonville is how much time, money, and draft capital they put into their offensive line. Now, Lawrence has gotten hurt, but they have put a very conscious effort towards that one sack for 11 yards.
But they can't run the ball worth the crap.
Well, yeah, there's the flip to that.
Tank Bigsby led the way, 12 carries for 50 and a touchdown. Travis Etienne, 9 for 22. So you had a total of 21 carries for 72 yards. That's an average of 3.4 a carry. That's not that good.
It's okay. I mean,
but this
ETN
next
looks
guy,
like crap.
he's going to have basically a whole segment to himself. Brian Thomas Jr.
That guy.
9 for 132 and a touchdown with a long of 62.
Yeah, he's just casually doing this like week in and week out at this point. I imagine the Wuze is going to be matched up on him.
It's either going to be him or Brownlee.
What do you think of Brownlee? Brownlee's been pretty quiet lately. He hasn't caused like massive pass interferences.
Which the way I look at it is if it's quiet, you're doing something right, and
Agreed.
you're not having the flag thrown on you.
Agreed.
You're doing your job. You're flying under the radar.
Those fouls they were calling on him were ticky tack, but that just tells you how smart of a player he is. I wouldn't. It's a matchup we'll see for many years. I wouldn't mind seeing Brownlee cover Thomas or shadow Thomas for a majority of this game.
Britton Strange, their tight end, two catches for 22.
Where's who's their main guy? He came from Evan Ingram. Where's Evan Ingram at? He been hurt?
I think he was out this game.
He's been out a lot, but that's the story of Evan Ingram.
Do you see that name at the very bottom? Josh Reynolds.
Sure don't. I didn't know that's where he was.
Yeah.
Dude, like he can't play without Jared Goff. Yeah, he's awful without Jared Goff.
God, let's see what this guy say. So is the real excuse? So is that the real excuse here? We suck. So we play it off and act like it's on purpose to capitalize on draft, so we can get the new class trained before they go to the.
Do you have that Terry McCormick tweet?
It's later in this tweet or in
is there a way we could skip ahead to it just because the caller did that or the guy? So there's obviously every year there's a tank for Shador, tank for Tua, tank for whoever is projected to be the best. And the debate right now is between should we draft a quarterback and try to ignite it, or should we do what Terry McCormick is suggesting? And I can read it or you can read it. Who would
take it?
Okay, so Terry McCormick, who is a Titans beat writer, he's been around for a long time, is one of the better ones. Honestly, for the Titans next year, don't draft a quarterback. Fix as many other holes as possible. Get a bridge quarterback to compete with Levis to see if things can improve. There is no point in drafting another quarterback right now. He will struggle too. Wait until we've fixed enough for them to have a real chance. And I agree with this, actually. And I think Lee does too. That's why it's
100%.
on here. Yeah.
Because we'll get to the first edition of the mock draft. Basically the way I look at it is the Titans are basically situated where they're probably going to end up in that 3 to 4 range.
Would you rather see a win or a win on Sunday? Would you rather see us lose and get draft position or?
the way I've dissected this. So we're at 4. A win against Jacksonville would drop us from 4 to 8.
Jeez. That's a steep price to pay to beat.
But you'll see where I want to go draft wise
Okay.
when we get to the draft stuff. But Tank Bigsby had a fumble, Brenton Strange, and so did Devin Duvernay.
Devin Duvernay, he's still around.
So they had 3 fumbles, 2 of them were lost, 1 recovered. So 3, 2, 1.
What did they just go buy every like receiver too that fell off in the history of every team? Like they got Devin Duvernay, they got Josh Reynolds. What are they trying to do here?
Do what we did when we got what's his name, Julio?
Oh yeah. Give up a 2nd round pick and get absolutely nothing in return. What he had like 400 yards, something like that. Which amazingly, Traylon Burks did not top, I don't think.
So to sum it up, our offense sucks, our defense sucks. All we have to do is fix each of those, and we're all set.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. All right, I think that's it for the show today. Pretty much, yeah.
Their defense really did not do a whole lot. They lost this game. I think it was like 19-14.
Yeah, it was a weird score. I could look it up if you wanted me to, but it's not important.
But let's talk about Logan Cook, their freaking punter.
Horrible.
What a weird stat line for him. Logan Cook had 7 punts, 275 yards, 2 punts inside the 20, but you're averaging 39.3 yards per punt, but you have a long of 55. What kind of sense does that make?
That is insane. He punted 7 times and only got inside 20 twice. It's crazy.
I love you guys.
We love you too, buddy.
But our games around the NFL in week 17, and we're going to do this even into next season. But the interesting thing for next season, each pick, so say you get the team right, you'll get a point. If you get half the score right, you're getting half a point. So total, if you get the winner right and the score right, you're coming away with 2 points. That's starting next season. But this season, we're doing it just like this. So Cincinnati's a 3.5 point favorite. Cincinnati's a 3.5 point favorite. J. Murph took Cincy against Denver. TK took Denver at Cincinnati.
I wish he was here to explain himself for why he chose that.
And I took Cincinnati. Your Denver away from Mile High is not the same Broncos team you're getting at Mile High.
And Burrow's playing like an MVP. He probably would be the MVP if his record wasn't what it is.
If his record wasn't garbage.
Yeah, well, that's not on him. His defense is, yeah.
Titans are favored by a point at Jacksonville.
Just to let you guys know, in the gambling world, you get 3 points just for home field advantage.
So Jacksonville's favored by 2, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
So all 3 of us took a clean sweep Jacksonville to beat the Titans in Duval. He said, just pick the Titans to lose every game, and percentage says you'll be the winner.
Yeah, well, that wasn't true for like the last 8 or 9 years. It's just recently. So,
Green Bay at Minnesota. Minnesota's favored by 1. Tyler and I both took Green Bay. And
Josh Jacobs playing crazy.
J. Murph decided to switch it up on us and go Minnesota.
Purple people eaters.
Carolina at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay favored by 7.5. Clean sweep on Tampa Bay.
I didn't
But
know
don't
that.
get me wrong, Carolina is
They
playing
can.
good.
Yeah, I'm surprised we all three picked Tampa because Carolina is not. I mean, and that's crazy because at one point in the year we were talking about how terrible Carolina was. We were like, they're obviously the worst team in the league.
And then Atlanta at Washington. Washington favored by 4.5. Murph and I both took Washington,
So,
and TK took the ATL.
so the interesting. Go back one slide if you don't mind. So the interesting thing about Tampa Bay and Atlanta owns the tiebreaker right now over Tampa Bay. If Tampa Bay wins this game, go to the
And
next slide,
Washington wins.
and Washington wins. I mean, Tampa controls their own destiny at that point. They still need to win in Week 18, but
Yeah.
these two games essentially, and you can go to the next slide back to Washington. These two games essentially
Are
decide the
playoff.
NFC South. Yeah, they decide the NFC South. So,
And
and
then
Washington's crazy good.
we had this set for Monday because there's a lot of people talking about, should we fire Callahan? Should we fire Callahan? The NFL there's a problem with impatience in this league. And even in our fan base, there is a problem with impatience.
Fire Callahan.
But Sunday afternoon, someone tweeted, Mike Vrabel went 6-11 last year and got fired. If Brian Callahan goes 3-14 this year, after the team spent $250 million improving this roster, you fire him. Simple as that. The same person that tweeted the whole thing about Vrabel going 6-11 last year get fired.
I don't want Dion. I'll take Shador.
This is a heinous tweet, in my opinion.
Yeah, honestly.
They said, I'm honestly fine with drafting Shador if he is there and hiring Dion. I could definitely end horribly, but I do like Shador as a prospect, and we'd at least be fun to watch for once.
No, bro. Look, we're going into a new stadium. We're having a new stadium.
He should fire himself from embarrassment.
Oh, trust me, he's not embarrassed. He's wiping his tears with his stacks and stacks of money. Which here is where the money came from. Here is Brian Callahan's history. Run through that real quickly. Just touch on
he started coaching literally less than 20 years ago. 06, 07, graduate assistant at UCLA. Junipero Sierra High School in California, 08, 09 as the offense coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Then he sprung into the NFL in 2010.
Yeah, he was with the Broncos, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning came in 2012, if I recall. So just a little context here.
Denver Broncos 2010 coaching assistant. 2011, 2012 in Denver, offensive quality control. 2013 through 2015, offensive assistant. Then he went to Detroit in 2016. 2016, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Stafford.
Yep.
As the quarterbacks coach for 2016, 2017. Then he went to the then Oakland Raiders.
Year one. He referenced this. This is year one. Year one.
With John Gruden. And he had Derek Carr.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the quarterbacks coach for the Raiders in 2018. Cincinnati in 2019 to 2023 as the offensive coordinator. And then that's how we get here to where we are today, the head coach of the Tennessee Titans.
Does that strike confidence?
My stepdad made the statement when he got that quarterback coaching job in Detroit. That was his real first taste of coaching in the NFL.
Sure.
So you've been a true coach. You were a position coach, not an offensive assistant or quality control or coaching assistant. But this was your first true taste of NFL action as a quarterback's coach. That was less than 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was 8 years ago.
Exactly. So it's in less than 10 years.
So yeah, I mean, he had Stafford, Carr, Burrow. Two of those are.
West Coaster explains it all.
He's too chill for sure. He's too chill for me.
Didn't Detroit and Oakland suck during those 10 years?
I mean, you can just
In year
take out the
one,
word 10 years. I mean, it didn't Detroit and Oakland suck? Yes, is the answer.
in Detroit, he was there under Jim Caldwell.
Oh, so they actually went 10-6.
Yeah, in his second year.
Yeah, that would have been, yeah. So the answer is no. Haha, joke's on you, listener.
And then you and I got into this discussion today,
Yeah.
talking about Callahan and
So don't change the slide yet. We can kind of have this conversation.
About have there been coaches outside of Wisenhunt fired either during the season or after one?
So let's tell them what the question was. So you asked me because of Tyler. You asked me.
I got to go pull the.
No, you asked me if they get blown out or if they play poorly.
Should he be fired? Should Callahan be fired after this game?
On Monday, yes. So and the question that I posed to you after that was, how many Titans head coaches in history have been fired mid-season, and why would you do that on the last week of the year? And so this is where this is our little brainchild right here that we scoured the interwebs to find information on.
Hold up. So this person said it was Detroit. They could go undefeated and they would still stink.
If you don't win the last game of the year, no one cares.
But all of our digging, all of the research led us to this. So there have only been two coaches between Titans Oilers history that have been fired during the season. Most recently, it was Wisenhunt.
3-20. Wow.
Over 23 games.
Wow. I have a signed helmet by him.
And then before that, you have to go back to 1983 to Chuck Studley, after he was fired after 10 games when he was 2-8.
I just don't
That's
see
crazy.
I just don't see how you fire Callahan after 1 year. I just don't see it.
And then you've had 4 coaches fired after one season. Now, this is back when they had coaches that were players, like Sammy Ball.
Sammy Ball, 1964. Could you imagine? Going and getting your bell rung in a cloth helmet and running over to the sideline and then drawing up a new play. Like, good Lord.
So Sammy Ball, 1964, after 14 games, was fired after having a 4-10 record. Next year, Hugh Taylor, 1965, after 14 games, was fired 4-10.
I think there were only 14 games at that point, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 1971. This is when I think they had already went to 60 or 16 games.
That was the year after the NFL merger. So yeah.
He was fired with 2 games left after going 4-9-1.
Craziness.
So would I be surprised if we get a notification on Monday that Callahan has been fired? I wouldn't be surprised.
I think the reasons that Amy Adams has historically fired a coach have been attitude based and relationship based with her. I think Callahan's probably a lot safer without those two factors involved.
Yeah. Well, I told you and Tyler this. I would be okay with Callahan staying if he would be willing to hand off at play calling. Because you need a head coach who can handle everything else. Delegate your day to day.
I mean,
Hand off play calling to someone else.
Andy Reid calls plays.
But Andy Reid's done it his whole career.
Well, Callahan could do it his whole career. I mean, he could suck the whole time, but he could do it his whole career.
Why would you be surprised? Another first for the Titans.
Oh, no, trust me, nothing surprises me. The only thing that would really surprise me is a Titans team that went winless. Like, I would find it
Like
really
Detroit
hard.
in 08.
Yeah, it's so hard to do that. Like, besides that, nothing else would surprise me.
Like, would I be surprised if, let's say, if we get a notification Monday afternoon or
No,
Tuesday morning,
would be odd, but no.
Callahan's fired? But the question is, if he is fired, where do you go interim? Bernard?
It's not a fair chance to anybody who comes in to be an interim.
Or do you go like a position coach like Justin
to.
Otten, your tight ends coach or running backs coach?
You'd have to. I just don't think it's a fair shot.
Because
Whoever you're putting out there is just a figurehead.
Justin Otten has done it before in Denver.
When?
The season before he came to Tennessee.
Okay.
So this is year 2 for him. So 2 seasons ago.
22.
Before Sean Payton got there.
Man, you remember that game in Denver during COVID where they had like 4 quarterbacks go down and they were trying to get a coach to play quarterback?
Yeah.
And they wound up starting a receiver who was off the practice squad.
Who had played quarterback in college, by the way.
Or like high school or something, yeah.
But I want to bring this up because this right here was an article from Titansized today.
Okay.
5 head coaching candidates that could tempt the Titans. If you fire Brian Callahan, who replaces Brian Callahan? There are some flag football coaches that would be better for the job and work for less.
Hot take. So there's a guy out there who plays quarterback in the American Flag Football League who believes that he is a better quarterback to play flag football than Patrick Mahomes. So if you really want to be an agent of chaos, please push that take on any social media platform.
I need the details, so send them. But there were 5 names that were brought up. No, none of them were Mike Vrabel.
Well,
as much as we want him back.
Go take a coffee break. I'll be right back.
Tyler had actually asked me, has a coach ever been fired and then came back as the head coach?
It's happened. I don't know how many times, but it's happened.
But 2 names right off the bat. Joe Brady in Buffalo.
I wouldn't mind him. So for those who don't know, it's actually listed on there. Yeah, he was the offensive coordinator for Joe Burrow at LSU when he won the national championship.
Yes. His diversified offenses would be ideal for the Titans offense. Because of the lack of clear-cut go-to playmakers.
Well, the one thing about Joe Brady that's a real big knock for me personally, he was on the coaching staff with the Panthers that saw Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore leave. So for whatever that's worth.
And then you have Liam Cohen, the Bucks offensive coordinator, who coincidentally was Will's OC at Kentucky.
Which was boasted at the time as one of the best Kentucky teams they'd ever fielded. So
exactly. He's managed to help Baker ascend to an even higher level.
Baker's been really good under Cohen. And Baker was washed. People were done with what Baker Mayfield.
Higher level that he was produced by now Panthers head coach. And he was the head coach in Carolina, was the Bucs play caller last season.
Yeah, Dave Canales. What I don't know his first name actually. I don't think it's Dave, but Canales. Yeah. I mean, Baker's a very talented player.
but you've seen him improve this year compared to
You
last
def- you definitely have. I don't know that he's improved so much that I want Cohen as my head coach, but I think he's
But
a bright mind. Nah,
but then you get to
give me a defensive coordinator, baby. Let's go.
there are two DCs. I vote for Adam Sandler as the
This
coach.
isn't a basketball team. Get out of here. Brian Flores, Vikings DC. So he is the head coach in Miami, and was actually fairly good. I think they made a couple playoff runs.
Yeah. And then you also have the DC and from Detroit, Aaron Glenn.
Well, our listeners think that Aaron Glenn or the Detroit Lions are trash, so you're probably going to have a hard sell.
Yeah. But then
This is
this
who
one
you
right
want.
here. Todd Monken,
I'd say Brian
Ravens
Flores.
OC. And I'm just going to read this top to bottom about Todd Monken.
Yeah,
No
this is your
coach
dude. You
has
take it over.
no coach has proven his scheme flexibility more than Monken. Over the past 6 seasons, he has gone from coaching Jameis Winston in Tampa Bay to Stetson Bennett in Georgia to Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. He has gotten the most out of his players. And if young coaching candidates are going to be penalized by Adam Shrunk, then Monken would receive a boost for his experience.
I'm not sure that she wants an experienced coach in the building. I'm going to be honest with you.
You should survey the players and see if they know the difference.
The difference in what? What did I say? Oh, Adam Sam. Oh, basketball and football. That's funny. LeBron knows the difference. LeBron would let him know.
Well, I don't think they realized this when COVID happened. Jerry Jones reached out to LeBron about coming and playing tight end for the Cowboys.
Oh yeah, no, that was never going to happen. That's so funny though. Yeah, I do remember that. It was kind of a story. It made the headlines for a minute.
If I had to rank these 5 top to bottom based on experience, I would go Todd Monken at 1.
He wasn't a head coach. Brian Flores was a head coach.
And then I'd go Flores and then Glenn.
All right, so what do you view as the biggest issues for a Titans team? Finish your list and then answer my question.
And then I'll go Joe Brady 4, and then Liam Cohen at 5.
Okay.
Because the thing I'm looking at is, why would you go from a head coach who's 40 right now back to a head coach who's 30, 38, 39? Why would you leave what you have and go younger?
I don't think age is an issue. I think. Do you want an offensive centric team or do you want a defensive centric team?
Well, you saw somewhere the difference under Vrabel.
You did.
Where your offense looked as bad as it does now.
Well, at points, because in 2020 we were the best team that had ever touched the field.
Exactly. But defensively,
bend but don't break.
Exactly.
And we were horrible that year. Didn't have an edge rusher. I think we had like 30 sacks the whole year.
On a serious note, what would have been the outcome had Peyton Manning actually bought into ownership of the Titans back when?
So he's referring to when Peyton Manning left the Colts. He
was rumored to be coming here.
He was offered a deal that was a lifetime deal that would allow him to move from a player role into the front office. He was smart enough to go to Denver instead. And that's pretty much how I answer that question. It wouldn't matter because the issue with the Titans is a pure cultural issue, and it takes time to change the culture of a building. Look at Detroit. Detroit started 6 or 7 years ago. They went through a 3-13 season. You don't change the culture overnight anywhere, ever.
But I feel like what was your question again?
I asked, what would you like as a more centric part of your team, defense or offense? When you look at a head coach, what do you want to bring into the building?
Well, me being the way I am, I want to see this offense flourish.
Me too. Absolutely.
So that's why I'm leaning more towards the offensive side. Because you can have a guy, like you could bring a guy in Like last year, defense wasn't great last year.
It wasn't. Once some of the injuries kind of set in and we started seeing the back end of the roster.
And then you bring in Denard Wilson. We're top 5 in the league right now.
He's been good. Now dude, I don't care what the numbers say. Our defense has been trash, but yes, he's been what we were advertised.
And so if you can get like an experienced defensive coach to come call your defense and have an offensive minded head coach outside of Callahan.
You think Dean Pease is available? Dick LeBeau, maybe?
Defense can make the offense, and defense is the heart.
Offense sells tickets, defense wins championships.
And that's what I was saying. Defense, if you want to win games, it's on defense.
Well, what I loved about Vrabel, and again, I'm going back to Vrabel again, but when we played teams, Vrabel wanted his defense to be the unit that was on the field with the game on the line. He wanted his offense to get the ball and get them ahead, run it down their throat with Henry.
If you had the lead, he wanted to stack the odds against our opponents.
He gambled on his defense. He said, I'm going to put my defense on the field. I dare you to score.
And, you don't see that.
No, it's not there. I don't think he knows what he wants.
And that's the problem. That's where the inexperience comes from.
Well, experience only comes from experience. You can't buy it. So what do you want? How long do you wait on Callahan here? Do you think he's so far from the finish line, from being a finished product as a head coach, that's not worth it?
I think he's extremely far.
Now, how long do you think he'll ever get there?
I think if he was to get another shot, he would need to get his bearings under him within the next 4 years.
So what's a record look like next year to where you keep Brian Callahan? We start 5-0. We'll just say we start 5-0. What do you have to end as to keep Callahan?
Next year?
Yeah.
I say we start 5-0, just hypothetically.
Yeah, that's just a random number. We start with wins. We win a few.
I would say 8 or 9.
And see, I don't feel like we're a competitive enough team to win 8 or 9.
Exactly.
Because you're talking about a coin flip, because the schedule is designed for you to win 8 or 9 games.
Exactly. Like our schedule and the way our roster looked to start the year.
That's what I saw.
You could have saw a team that would have won probably 10, 12 games, if not 13.
Depending on how Levis played and the development of it, I agree with you. Because I said from the very beginning, the team will go where Levis takes them. Which he took them nowhere, so they went nowhere.
The way this season has progressed, you're like, what has happened?
Well, we were supposed to fix the offensive line.
The right side is terrible.
It's awful. They changed out the center, the guard, and the tackle in the fourth quarter of the game against Indy.
If the defense is great, it can shut the others offense out. Then our sucky offense only has to get a field goal and be heroes.
What was it? The 2001 Miami Hurricanes, where if the offense had never scored a point, they still would have won 8 games. They would have gone 8-3 or something like that.
But dealing with draft stuff, the NFL draft, we've already went through this tweet, and I agree with this. I don't think we go quarterback. I think you have to fix everything else first. And
I agree. I agree with Terry as well.
Tyler and I have said this: if we do draft a quarterback, he's sitting for at least 2 to 3.
Yeah, and that's what we're benching Will, and we haven't allowed him that luxury.
We might get some rebuttal on that statement.
I don't care.
I think you have to let a rookie quarterback, 2nd round, 3rd round. So half-time first round.
I don't care where we pick him; he has to sit.
Yeah, for at least 2 years.
And football's a meritocracy, so he has to earn it. Not only does he sit, he has to earn it.
Exactly. But the 2025 NFL draft order lies like this, and this is post that Monday night game. Giants 1, Patriots 2, Jags 3, Titans 4, Cleveland 5, Raiders 6, Carolina some way somehow picking at 7, Jets 8, Bears 9, Saints 10, San Francisco 11, Miami 12, Indianapolis 13, Cincinnati 14, Dallas 15, Arizona 16, Seattle 17, Tampa Bay at 18.
The Bears aren't winning another game.
I think because Bears are at 4-11, they would probably finish right in here between 5 and 8.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when we started doing this, the Bears were picking 16, and they were like 4-5 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Bears suck. Anyway, so the game on Sunday is going to determine 3 and 4 for sure for at least the next 7 days. What do you think's more worth it to you, a win or draft position? Because as you said, it did drop us to 8th.
At this point, I'm looking at draft position.
So what do you do as a coach who has to balance between saving his job and putting a competitive team on the field and trying to get the guy you think is going to change your roster next season?
Well, I would go like this. I would say, let's go out there and do what we can. And if we lose, okay. Because Tyler had asked me this question. Is there anything in the NFL rules against throwing games?
Yeah, the longest yard's about that, actually.
No, not like betting on games in the NFL, like player-wise.
It's point shaving, yeah.
But like if you go out there and you're down by 4 and you're running and you take a knee at the 1 and the clock runs out.
Oh, that you would get booed out of the stadium. So Brian Flores, when he was going through his whole deal with Miami,
They were trying to get him to lose games.
Yeah, it was alleged that he was told to lose games and he refused to do so. There was a settlement outside of court, and then Flores wound up in Pittsburgh. So is that a question?
Is that a question or statement about losing?
Yes.
Yes.
So, but I think the Dolphins did ultimately wind up taking some sort of fine and having a punishment, but
yeah,
there's no real time implications on anything. No, I don't think so.
But as we head into the back end of this, of the draft stuff,
yeah,
I did a full Titans mock, which it might seem a little excessive when you're fleecing teams. That's the way I look at it.
I don't know why you didn't just trade for Todd Monken and Derrick Henry in this whole process, but
you could not trade for players. But the way I went at it was traded with New Orleans. So I traded from 4 to 10, picked up pick 74, 111, 125, and 185 from New Orleans.
Honestly, it's probably what it would cost.
I would take 2 first. I would take 2 first.
I would too, but I think you went a little overzealous with one of the fourths, but I think that's probably what it would cost.
From Baltimore, I traded out of 35 to pick 57. Got pick 90, 135, and I also got a 4th and a 6th in 2026. And the way the board fell was like, okay, So I traded back to him, picked and drafted Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State.
Okay, so now you got 3 running backs.
At 57 in the second, took Trey Harris, wide receiver out of Ole Miss.
Cool.
Marcus Imbow, offensive tackle out of Purdue at 74. Deontay Lawson, linebacker out of Alabama. Then went tight end at 107, Gunnar Helm out of Texas, which it kind of stung me a little bit, but he's a great player. Edge rusher at 111, Brady Swinson out of LSU. 119, Jabbar Muhammad, corner out of Oregon. 125, Devin Neal out of Kansas. 135, Charles Grant, interior offensive lineman out of William and Mary. Pick 142, safety Kamari Ramsey out of USC. I went quarterback late in this draft at 167, Riley Leonard out of Notre Dame. 179, JJ Pegus, defensive lineman out of Ole Miss. 185, wide receiver Deion Burks out of Oklahoma. 243, Baron Sorrell, edge rusher out of Texas at 243. So
as much as I love the pick of Ashton at 10, I think there would be a riot on Broadway if they did that.
Well, he was best player available. It was either that or a wide receiver. I'm like, the way I went at this is, let's say you could put Pollard. You could put Pollard.
We're just running the Wildcat all game.
On the left hip or right hip of whoever the quarterback is. You could line Jeanty up in the slot and use him how San Francisco started out using Debo, but then they transitioned to using IU like that.
I mean, it'd give us weapons, that's for sure. You go offense, first 2 picks, which 3 picks.
First 3.
And then a linebacker at 90, so right at the beginning of the 3rd round or into the 3rd round.
Hey, now you know that Ramsey will go much earlier since he is a West Coaster.
Well, I find it very hard to believe that we would be picking that many times at the back end of the draft. So Ramsey's probably not going to be a Titan. But what this does tell you is that we have a lot of areas of need.
And you fill almost all of them, except for kicker, punter, and long snapper.
Yeah, well, I also don't think those are the 3 positions that are hurting our special teams either.
And it's like you could use a guy like Deion Burks of Oklahoma, as a returner or something.
Which is desperately what we need.
You could also use Devin Neal, who I drafted there 125 out of Kansas.
So how many picks do we have without any trades? Because I don't think we have a 3rd rounder this year.
We do not have a 3rd.
So for those who are listening, generally speaking, your first 3 rounds are the guys you anticipate being starters or long-term starters on your roster. So being that we don't have a 3rd round pick, we have to hit on our first 2.
So right now, Titans only have round 1, 2, 4, 5.
I was about to say that 4 would be DeAndre Hopkins if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl.
That 5 could become a 4.
I'm sorry. You're right. The 5 would be I meant the same thing. I said it backwards. If there's a 5th round pick that could potentially become a 4th round pick if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl.
and Hopkins plays 60 or more of the team snaps along the way.
Yeah, I don't know that that's going to happen, but
Ernest Jones is where that fourth came in.
which we should have never.
So we could have a fifth and 2 fourths if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl.
And D Hop
You
plays
have-
more than half the snaps.
You have 6. You have rounds. You have a 6th round, and we do not have a 7th.
So your 6th round is your 5th and 6th rounds. We have a 5th. We have 2 5ths. So those are guys that are pretty much going to be
One of those
special teamers.
One of those picks could become a 4th.
So multiple things come into play here with the first round pick that's high. So on Sunday, we could potentially be picking as high as 10th or as low as 3rd. So a lot of things come in, especially trade value, when you look at things like this.
Yes, because the reason we don't have that 3rd is because of Snead.
Right. Who hasn't played 90% of the
Who
year.
I don't think is back next year.
I don't know why you go and trade him if you don't bring him back next year. Yeah, we gave him a deal when we traded for him.
Yeah. And coaches, quarterback, tackle, and receiver.
Well, I hear there's an opening. You can probably go on Indeed, Tennessee Titans. I know the Bears. I know you can actually apply on Indeed to be the Bears head coach. I know you can do it. I saw it, and my wife brought it to me. It was like, "Hey, you should apply for this." And like, it goes back to the team site. Like, it kind of looked legit.
So, before we go into the back end of this, because we're running about an hour and 20.
Yeah, we need to wrap up soon. Let's run through it.
So keys to victory. We're going to go very fast on this. Number 1, take care of your business. Take care of your business.
Lose the game.
2, control the line of scrimmage.
Lose the game.
Lose it. And 3, protect Rudolph.
Lose the game.
But the question
and drop your
is,
season ticket price.
who wins? I know me, you, and Tyler are all 3 taking Jacksonville. All 3 are taking Jags.
Absolutely. Easiest bet of the year, I think.
So we wanted to go into this because it is playoff time in our fantasy leagues.
Oh, yeah. I'm playing Tyler for 3rd in our league this week. This is not our matchup. This is theirs.
So my matchup, I am playing, I want to say the guy who was 4th and lost last week. And I am currently leading this game because, of course, I have Charbonnet playing for Seattle tonight. 31.6 to 8.9. And Charbonnet has 50 yards and it's 6-3 at the half. Tyler went off on Christmas Day with over 34 points. But then you get to Murph's League.
Yep. Tyler and I
where he is playing Tyler this week, and he had put Charbonnet in after I'd gotten this screenshot from Tyler.
I'm projected to win 131.2 to 131.07. So
very close.
Yeah, it's a coin flip.
Oh, you almost had it. But
I'm gonna make Tyler show up in a pink tutu if he loses.
Pink tutu the show.
Yeah.
But y'all, it's time to shut up shop and get out of here. As I like to somewhat say, you don't have to go home, but you cannot stay here. Stay classy.
Tighten
and
up.
tighten up.
Thanks for the interaction tonight.
Tighten up! Let's get tightened up! Tightened up!